Ladies, gentlemen and graduands, a very warm welcome, literally, to the University of Manchester and to the Whitworth Hall. We're so lucky to have a great day for today's celebrations, and I hope you'll thoroughly enjoy it. I'm particularly pleased to welcome back to the university one of our former students, Philip Chin, who is Chief Executive of Langland, one of the world's leading and most decorated healthcare advertising agencies. It's a great privilege to have Philip join us today, and we'll be delighted to honour him with an Outstanding Alumnus Award in just a few minutes. Well, what a fortnight we've had. A record last wicket partnership in Test cricket from Joe Root and Jimmy Anderson. Lewis Hamilton storms to victory in the British Grand Prix. And the England team managed to find their way home. In other news, a record 800 people attended the Faculty of Life Sciences Community Open Day. And Helen Housby found out she'll be taking a trip to Glasgow later this month. You've probably heard about the first series of events, but maybe not the latter. As far as the Open Day is concerned, it's one of the faculty's key strategies to engage the local community by opening up its buildings and letting the public in to see what we do. Incidentally, the event was held in the Michael Smith Building lounge and quad, which you'll see if you go to the reception that follows this ceremony. Helen Housby is a zoology first-year student in FLS, and she's just learned that she's been selected for the Commonwealth Games, hence Glasgow. Her selection follows an exceptionally successful first year in the England Netball Manchester Intensive Training Centre, playing for our netball franchise partner, Manchester Thunder. In watching and hearing about these various events, I was struck by an awesome combination of sheer genius and utter dedication. Whether it was the England cricket team, Lewis Hamilton, the staff and students who enthused the public at our Open Day, or Goal Attack Helen, they were all totally committed to a cause. I see this attitude every day at this university, and it's one of the main reasons that I and my colleagues love working here. So, graduates, how many of you have these qualities? Well, I, for one, am pretty sure that you too have the intellect and skills to make a difference to this world. Many of you are probably going through the painful process of deciding what career path to take and then trying to find work. And this is the last thing on your mind. However, don't worry, it will happen. You may be surprised to know that employment data tell us that only a quarter of you will actually choose a career in biology. However, we know from our research on alumni that a majority of the estimated 30,000 Manchester Life Science graduates spread across the world are now in influential and valuable jobs, regardless of their nature. The reason that our graduates succeed in diverse careers, and that you will succeed, is that they develop a range of generic employable skills or competencies during their course. Again, you may not realize, but in addition to learning specific details and concepts related to your own subject areas, which you may or may not use again, you have learned to articulate what you have to offer to employers. You're self-aware. You have the ability to manage your learning. You can demonstrate critical thinking, teamwork, project management, problem solving, cultural sensitivity, and leadership skills. You may not know, but you do. You're very, very well placed to use these skills and to succeed in your careers. So, the very best of luck. We're really sorry to see you go, but I hope you'll keep in touch, visit Manchester, and want to work with us again. For now, please accept my very best wishes and do your best to make a difference. I'd now like to hand over to Professor Matthew Cobb, who's the Associate Dean for Social Responsibility of the Faculty, who will introduce Philip Chin. Thank you.
Vice President and Dean, ladies and gentlemen, graduands, it gives me enormous pleasure to introduce the recipient of the University of Manchester Outstanding Alumni Award for 2014, Philip Chin. Philip is the chief executive of the healthcare advertising agency Langland, a multi-million-pound business he co-founded in 1991 with his wife, Joanna. Joanna herself is also an alumna of Manchester. Indeed, Philip says meeting her was his greatest achievement at university. And judging by the success they've enjoyed together, they are a formidable partnership. Over the past 23 years, under Philip and Joanna's direction, Langland has grown into a global powerhouse of healthcare advertising. The company employs around 100 people at its headquarters in Windsor and is responsible for creating international campaigns for clients such as GlaxoSmithKline, Pfizer, Novartis, and Merck. The New York Festival's Global Awards have voted Langland Healthcare Agency of the Year for the past 3 years, and they were recently named Agency of the Year at the inaugural Cannes Lion Health Festival, the world's biggest annual awards show for the creative communications industry. Philip credits his parents and his childhood for imbuing him with the entrepreneurial spirit and determination that has seen him guide Langland to such success over the past 2 decades. He's one of 4 children born to Chinese immigrants in Swansea. His parents arrived in the UK in the 1950s, not knowing anyone and not speaking any English. Within a few years, they had built a successful laundry business and later expanded into the restaurant industry, becoming pillars of Swansea's Chinese community. Like any proud parents, they had ambitions for Philip. So when a talent scout from Swansea City Football Club knocked on the door to see if Philip, who was a gifted footballer, wanted to sign schoolboy papers for the team, he was politely shown the door. Philip couldn't sign for Swansea City, they explained, because he was going to college. And Philip did go to college. Science was where his main interest lay, and in 1979 he accepted a place at the University of Manchester to study botany, now known as plant sciences. I'm sure he won't mind me saying that he wasn't the most naturally talented botanist, but he was a naturally talented undergraduate, enjoying all that student life in Manchester in the early 1980s had to offer, not least the Students' Union and the snooker hall. He enjoyed his course, though, and was always a conscientious and quietly determined student, thriving on the discipline that his degree required. On graduating in 1982, Philip found a position as a medical representative for a pharmaceutical company, a job for which his life sciences degree made him ideally suited. It was in pharmaceutical sales that he began to learn and refine the skills that would serve him so well at Langland: empathy, passion, leadership, discipline. But he soon realized that he wanted to do more than sell products. He wanted to influence the way they were sold and the way they were marketed. So after becoming the youngest and most successful salesman in the company, he was promoted into the marketing department. From there, it was a small step into marketing communications. In the late 1980s, he joined a healthcare advertising startup in London. After 3.5 years of working for someone else, he and Joanna, who was then working in market research, decided to take a leap of faith and set up their own healthcare advertising agency, which they called Langland. They funded it through an overdraft, but within 3 months they'd paid that off, were in the black, and Langland was on its way to becoming the agency it is today. Globally recognized within the healthcare advertising world and internationally acclaimed. Beyond his achievements at work, Philip and his wife Joanna are also proud patrons of Sebastian's Action Trust, a charity based in North Waltham, Hampshire, which provides respite breaks and outreach support for families with children suffering from life-limiting illnesses. The charity was recently awarded the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service. Vice President and Dean, I present you for the Award of Outstanding Alumnus, Philip Chin.
Vice President and Dean, ladies and gentlemen, graduates, I'm very humbled that the university has honoured me with this award and delighted to be back in Manchester in this wonderful setting. I left Manchester over 30 years ago, before many of you were born. So much has happened in my life since I graduated, but I still remember with great fondness my time at the university, living as a student in halls of residence in Chorlton-cum-Hardy, moving into a shared house with 3 friends, and all those great parties. And of course, the odd lecture or 2 in between. But in all seriousness, the life science degree that I obtained at Manchester was responsible for kickstarting my career. It opened the door to my first job in pharmaceutical sales. It enabled me to meet many interesting people and gave me the opportunity to travel to a variety of places. But what does a degree in plant sciences have to do with the world of healthcare advertising, you may ask? Well, for one thing, the degree taught me that having a disciplined approach towards learning and problem solving is fundamentally important if you're going to get results. I can still remember the time I had to visit the lab in the Williamson building every day for several weeks in the early hours of the morning to take detailed light readings and to cover seedlings meticulously with silver foil for an experiment I was undertaking in my final year. Attention to detail was the difference between success and failure then, and it continues to be a differentiating factor for me now, ensuring that my company maintains its competitive edge within the advertising industry. And talking of competitiveness, all of you graduating today will no doubt be starting to compete for jobs. I wish each of you every success with your efforts, as I know it's a very tough job market out there. My company has been fortunate enough to have recruited many talented graduates over the years. One question I am repeatedly asked by new graduates is, how do I get on? I don't have a definitive prescription for success, but I do have a few pointers, which some people in the past have found to be helpful. 1, continue what you've been doing at university, and that's to keep learning. Education is key. Be curious and acquire as much knowledge as you can from those with more experience than you. By becoming more knowledgeable, you'll become more invaluable. 2, don't focus on yourself. Focus on others. Help others to be successful, and they will help you to be successful too. 3, work hard, but don't be hard work. People like being surrounded by happy people. No one wants to be around a whinger. 4, embrace change, don't fear it. Whether that's putting yourself outside your comfort zone to grab career opportunities as they arise, or keeping pace with the relentless progress that's taking place with technological advances. Be brave and take it on. The internet had only just taken off as a business tool when my company was founded in the early 90s. I can recall thinking, the internet? I don't need that. An email? Well, it will never catch on. 2 decades later, how wrong was I on both counts? You should all feel proud that you are graduating today with your degrees. I extend my personal congratulations to each of you for your achievements. The formal qualification you leave with today will, I'm sure, set you on your way, just like it did for me. However, it may be worth remembering that there are no degrees being handed out today for things like passion, charm, kindness, humility, and empathy. These are not qualifications per se, but notable qualities that I see demonstrated every day from the people who stand out in my organization. Finally, I would like to end by saying that I'm very pleased to be here today because receiving the award enables me to share the occasion, just like all of you, with my family and friends. This award is as much theirs as it is mine. In particular, I would like to acknowledge my wife, Joanna. She is also an alumna of the university, as previously mentioned. We co-founded our business together back in 1991, and she has played an equal part in its success. I would also like to thank my parents, who after leaving China penniless in the mid-1950s, worked tirelessly to provide me with the opportunity of a university education. They have been an inspiration to me. I didn't get to attend my own graduation back in 1982, which took place in this very same hall. But I hope my mother, who is here today, is proud that she's finally seen me wear the gown and mortarboard. Thank you again for the honor of this award.
and I was trying not to cry. Thank you very much, Philip. I'd now like to introduce Professor Liz Sheffield, who's the Associate Dean for Teaching, Learning and Students in the faculty.
Vice President and Dean, ladies and gentlemen, graduands. Well, here we are again, eh? A very warm welcome back to those guests who first sat in this hall several years ago, and a huge thank you to our graduands who, perhaps as a result of one of our open days or that very visit day, chose to come and study at this university, despite ridiculously tenuous links drawn between subjects in the life sciences and parts of a car. If you remember back to day one of your time with us, I compared reading for a degree with constructing a car. You have now all constructed your various vehicles and are ready to drive off into the future, I'm sure with fully functional windscreen wipers. It's not always like this in Manchester. If this is your first time in the Whitworth Hall, may I welcome the guests here as supporters of those about to graduate, some of whom I'm sure will have travelled a very long way to be with us today. Didn't they do well? They are the best bunch of students we've ever had, and yes, I do say that every year, because it's true. I'm sure you must be very proud of their achievements, but I'm also certain that most of them would not be here today if it were not for your emotional and probably financial support. We're going to spend a good deal of time and energy applauding the graduands later in this ceremony, but perhaps the graduands would like to stand and show their appreciation for the family, friends and supporters who've been behind them during their journey. One of the things that defines our single school faculty is our team spirit. So what have the team of students and staff in the life sciences in Manchester achieved this year? I have to admit it didn't start well. Very disappointingly, the academic year started with the final nail in the Jurassic Park coffin when our researchers confirmed that DNA probably cannot be extracted from fossils in amber. Another disappointment was that an extinct giant moa bird from New Zealand had not been very aptly named as Dinornis robustus, meaning robust, strange bird. As the work of Charlotte Brassey, who will be getting her PhD here this afternoon, showed, its bones were not very robust at all. I was quite impressed, though, with the aside in the press release that said if you wanted to eat roast moa on Christmas Day, you'd have to start cooking one on December the 23rd. On more positive notes, we determined the bacterial signature of wounds that refuse to heal and found ways to target cells resistant to chemotherapy. We discovered a new mechanism that governs how body clocks react to changes in the environment and purified fish oils that could help treat a disease that affects newborn babies. As a plant scientist, I was especially excited about the discovery of an important mechanism in plant cells which regulates the direction in which plant cells grow, as it might allow us to genetically engineer more efficient plants, which could increase crop yields or material for bioenergy. Some of the graduands here today who did summer studentships and lab-based final year projects will have contributed to these discoveries, and I certainly hope that most of the graduands feel a little bit better disposed towards plants than they did when they first sat in this hall. I can dream. Many of the graduands chose alternatives to lab-based research for their final year projects. I've had a great time looking at the very impressive set of creative and educational outputs generated within our science communication projects. With the support of our academic staff here today and our fantastic e-learning team, these projects have generated a death metal song about stroke, which apparently went viral on YouTube, a song and a Just So type story about language, an engaging narrated movie on leafcutter ants with hand-drawn cartoons, and an online resource which explains ant pheromone trails, both of which are bound to benefit future generations of students, especially on field courses. A very moving story about living with schizophrenia was evaluated to see whether fictional accounts could change people's attitudes and perspectives about the disease, and another project generated an iBook on cranial nerves. Visitors to the Manchester Museum who made yoghurt now understand all about gut microbes, and we now have a resource on the origin of medicine in ancient Egypt, and artwork that was part of a show in the Manchester Museum during Action on Stroke Month. That artwork will travel from there to the Manchester Royal Infirmary and eventually to Hope Hospital to highlight some of the statistics associated with stroke. As our president, Dame Nancy Rothwell, said at the event, What we want science/art to do is to raise awareness of stroke and show it's not just something that happens to old people, but that young people can be affected too. We also wanted to show that stroke isn't the end of a fulfilling life and to tell people about research into stroke. She added, "I'd never like to make false promises, but there's a possibility that in the next few years there will be radical new treatments for stroke." So it's a very exciting time to have been involved with the research going on in our faculty. As you know, our teaching is inspired by our research, so it was no surprise that Graham Pavitt, who obtained the faculty's Researcher of the Year award a few years ago, was named Teacher of the Year this year. Of course, some of you graduands chose to carry out your research elsewhere in the country, or indeed the UK, in your third years. So unfortunately, I had to drag myself off to Florida to visit you on placement. Isn't life hard? Others went to the Gambia, Namibia, Ecuador, the Galapagos, Greece, Finland, Austria, and Spain. During the next part of the ceremony, you'll be coming up to get your degree certificates. If you have a look at the university emblem on them, you will see the motto Cognitio Sapientia Humanitas. 3 things which we hope you've acquired during your time here: knowledge, wisdom, and humanity. We know that many of you have already supported the important Goal 3 of the University Strategic Vision for 2020 by exercising your social responsibility to help others. I'd particularly like to thank the many past leaders in the hall who've made an enormous positive contribution to the experience of younger students during their first year with us. I mentioned just a few of the other ways that those of you who have volunteered have helped our local communities alongside your studies in our graduation newsletter. Please do make sure you pick one of those up when you leave the Smith Building. And it's great to hear that many of you are going on to help others when you leave us, including work for conservation programs, guiding nature tours in the Canadian Rockies, and leading field courses for secondary school pupils in Singapore. Many of you are going on to acquire more knowledge in the form of master's and PhD programs on locations including Oxford, London, and Paris, as well as a significant number who have chosen to stay with us here in the faculty. So, what will your futures hold? If you haven't got it already, when will you get your dream job? When will you get your first promotion? When will you earn your first million? When will you gift your second million to the university? Or at least offer us a placement for a student? We can't know the answer to these questions, but you know you can rely on us to support you as much as we can in your future endeavours, so please keep in touch and please support our future students whenever you get the chance. Thank you.
Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Bachelor of Science Biochemistry with Honours, George Francis Allery. Samuel Bailey. Holly Victoria Barker. Catherine Byrne. Mo Cheng. Uzma Chowdhury. Jonathan Davis. Ravina Doctor. Marcus John Duff. Daniel Gibb. Charlotte Graham. Miruna Christiana Hanu. Harry James. Kwan Ting Kan. Alice Kelly. Grant Kirkpatrick. Bianca Sina Lee. Sophie Lynch. Jonathan Mitchell. Thomas Owen. Eleanor Owen. Charlie Slater. Madeline Suzanne Stanley. Andreas Sukenko. Victoria Upton. Nikita Fakaria. Kaylee Walker. And in biochemistry with a modern language with honours, Jennifer Booker. Alexander James Wood. And in biochemistry with industrial or professional experience with honours, Thomas James Booth. Ahmad Zakaria Bukeru. Robin Broad. Abigail Charlotte Cowley, who is also awarded the Outstanding Academic Achievement Award. Andrew Holloway. Imogen Kelso. Heather Mackey. Charles Moore Kelly. Thomas Ravenscroft. Claire Rhiannon Stewart. Simas Tatoris.
Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Bachelor of Science Biology with honours, Lauren Ackroyd. Rosie Banks Welsh. Olivia Boosted. Catherine Rose Bryan. Kyle Allen Burgess. Alistair Carr. Florence Claire Chappell. Lyndon Victoria Condon. Lindsay Dalton Jarvis. Lara Caitlin Doolan. Will Durand. James Edgar. James Finlater. Gillian Sarah Ford. Maria Giorgio. Natalie Louise Haley. Elizabeth Harrett. Mohammed Nakeen bin Hashim. Sarah Hewison. Robert William Higginbottom. Rosaline Billy Hooker. Sarah Hossein Dahay. Madeline Rose Hughes. Emma Holtum. Penelope Jeffries. Felicity Jones. Kathleen Leonard Bedwell. Lauren Lakeem. Emily Ludlow. Charlotte Pamela Marsh. James Alexander Merster. Jonathan David Matthews. Lucy McDermott. Connor James McQuiston. Hannah Murphy. Charlotte O'Neill. Akil bin Oshman. Sophie Parkinson. James Alexander Polishway. David Roshman. Thomas Ross. Stefan Schroeder. Samuel Shields. Georgina Smith. Matthew Martin Snee. Ryan Staten. Oshrin Strello. Kay Simcox. Yin Man Tan. Sophie Thurston. Andrew Trigg. Rachel Tunick. Kate Warner. Morgan John Williams. Joanna Wingfield. Emma Worthington. And in biology with a modern language with honors, Daniel Flynn. Christopher Gard. And in biology with industrial professional experience with honors, Natasha Brewer. Molly Bird. Joshua Kasuli. Matthew Richard Dewhurst. Rosemary Harris. Alexander Jules Hallsgrove. Bronwyn Masama. Megan Elizabeth Maruzzi. Roberto James Padavani. David Robert Pettifer. And in biology with science and society with honors, Sarah Bromley. Polly DiFernati. Yasmin Janati. Hannah Louise McDonald. Sabina Murali Krishna. Corey James Stout. And in biotechnology with honors, Almerindo da Silva. Noraniza Benit Jonin. Mohammed Arif bin Juati. Mamta Rukamur Kalwani. Naudalia binti Mohammed Sofi. Mesna Sabrine Sanjani. Sam Swindles. Ishan Kiriova. And in biotechnology enterprise with industrial or professional experience with honors, Adam Juani. Alex Palmer. Laura Velacruz Carrasco. And in plant sciences with honors, Matthew Casey. Ian Place. Sophie Wells. And in plant sciences with industrial or professional experience with honors, Max Harriman. Matthew Jackson. Emily Lambert. Aoife Sweeney.
Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Bachelor of Science, Developmental Biology with honours, Emma Louise Armitage. Robert James Harrison. Jessica Louise Thompson. Matthew James Zimmer. And in developmental biology with industrial or professional experience with honours, Chloe Hurling.
Vice President and Dean, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Bachelor of Science of Genetics with honors, Haura Adnam Al-Galfi. Mirza Saif Ullah Akbar Beg. Debbie Kaur Zi Yin. Davida Kolthresha. Anna Lester. Marina Pellegrini. Samuel Rack. Jeffrey Rahal. Ramin Rahman. Michaela Tholtova. Abigail Mary Watmore. And in genetics with industrial or professional experience with honors, Thomas Burkett. Zoe Rebecca Crane-Smith. Amy Elizabeth Day. William Edgar. Lucy Victoria Ireland. Haley Louise Johnson. Mary Wynne Jones. Gabrielle Ollie. Joanna Elizabeth Parks. And in medical biochemistry with honors, Bora Agate. Peter Harold William Airy. Lucy Alcock. Osman Dadas. Bethan Olivia Heron. Jang Ik Lee. Robert Jackson Henry Lee. Shona Murphy. Nazife Sultanoglu. Hussein Tin. Lisa Adele Watts. And in medical biochemistry, intercalating medical and dental students with honors, Philip David Wright. And in medical biochemistry with industrial or professional experience, Daniel Potts.
Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Bachelor of Science, Zoology with Honours, Georgia Beattie. William Berrington. Hannah Beswick. Ruby Botts. Lydia Bull. Rebecca Carter. Veronica Cow. Joseph Drackard. Caitlin Fogarty. Robin Gill. Joshua Dominic Hammer. Sarah Sophia Hoyt Hughes. John Jackson. Theo Jolliffe. Jessie Maeve Maxwell. Georgina Elizabeth Mayhew. Aaron Moran. Nikki Amara Roberts. Jessica Smith. Thomas Stenning. Ben Sunderland. Finlay Thompson. Oliver Walker. Emily Jane Weldon. Thomas Wiley. Rachel Worrell. And in zoology with a modern language with honours, Katerina Carbon. Samuel Gow. Gayana Sharbazian. And in zoology with industrial professional experience with honours, Jonathan Paul Fenn. Terence Stephen Garner. Thomas Elliott Haworth. Nadia Jogi. And awarded the Outstanding Academic Achievement Award, William Joyce. Hannah Anise Kwaja. Rachel Kwok. Carolyn Ma. Catherine Markin. Harry Martin. Hallie O'Reilly Berkeley. Emma Sampson. James Stranks. Alice Walker. And Joseph Whitehead.
That's the first of three today. On behalf of the university, I once again congratulate all of you who are graduating here today on your excellent achievements, and I wish you every success and happiness in your future lives and careers. I now declare this ceremony closed.